Starward, Vitalis, 15th anniversary bottles have just dropped in Ballot, so check your emails today to make sure that if you've won it, you've got 24 hours to buy, pretty much before it goes, what I would assume, going to the open market. So first off, caveat on this, it is not a 15-year-old bottle, which some people have asked me. It's a 15th year anniversary, same as what they did with the 10th year anniversary, which is this one here, which is what I've got drinking tonight. And it's absolutely beautiful. So this is the 15-year anniversary release. It's called Vitalis, obviously named after David Vitalis himself, also meaning life in Latin, which is obviously, you know, his life has been now around whiskey for quite some time. But I would, if I had a distillery and I'd be, you know, producing amazing whiskey like this, I'd probably be naming every bottle after myself. So first off, I wanted to say thank you to Malt Dining. We went and had a dinner there and we were able to do a breakdown tasting of all of the barrels that have actually gone into the Vitalis. Now there's 6 tastings on the night and then the 7th one was the Vitalis. And I actually brought along the 10th year so people could actually try that as well and see what the difference between the past 5 years in what they've been doing, how they're blending and also. Now, most of this whiskey is from the old Essendon distillery. So if you are an old school Starward fan, you're going to really enjoy this because it does bring a little bit of a different flavor profile to some of the recent releases that they've done, which are, you know, all been produced at the new, I think it's Port Melbourne distillery. So first off, we had a wine cask, which is a 4-year-old, which is 52%, which is pretty much the Nova as well, because that is their matured in red wine casks. The second and third were both Apera. Now the first barrel was a first fill, 10-year-old, and the second one is a second fill, 5-year-old, which is pretty much Solera, and David's probably favorite barrel, and he says, and I think it's more sentimental, as he mentioned as well. So, so the first 3 are fairly standard kind of flavor profiles. Now, the third barrel, which is the second fill, was the crowd favorite. There was 40 people that came along to this. Majority of people loved that. And David talks about this, that really shows the Starward flavors coming through instead of the barrel profile coming through. So you need a little bit more extra time to get it aged and get that, you know, flavors profiles, but the second fill was the favorite on the night. So the Tawny, which is a 4-year-old, 52%. This is the 2019 release, and this is the 2022 release. Obviously, you can see baby bottle, big bottles. They've now moved to 700 mils for these releases as well. We were flown down to Melbourne to do a breakdown tasting, so very similar to what we've done here. And we were able to experience the whole Tawny 2022 release in their separate barrels. So that was the first time I'd actually seen that before, and it was a great experience. I really wish more distilleries would do that, especially if they are doing some kind of blend. I would love to have a full breakdown of each whiskey, because at the end of it, I'll talk about what happened. It was, as I said, a fantastic experience, and this one was too. So this was the 24-year-old, and then moved on to what I thought started to get into a bit more interesting barrels. Now, as a massive Starward fan, one of the things that I always have on my shelf is obviously the red wine barrels, the Apera barrels, and that flavor profile of what they really do. But the 5th barrel was a bourbon cask 8-year-old. Now they haven't actually done many bourbon releases. I think they've done 3. I'll probably get that wrong. It's probably 4, maybe 3. The first one was one of this little tiny barrel, which was the Projects releases. I don't have the year on this. It's also a 52. There was only 1,200 bottles of this. I have never even tried this. This event was the first time that I tried a bourbon release from Starward, and I loved it because it was just different to the typical Starward that we get, but it still had that tropical kind of notes in the back end of it, which I enjoy from Starward. So we do have 5-year anniversary from the Elysian. That's one of the actual ones. I think this was a Maker's Mark. Yep, Maker's Mark Bourbon Barrel release. That one has only just come out. You've got the older release, and I don't know what the other one is off the top of my head. Then my favorite on the night, because I've never seen them do it. I knew they had the barrels, but didn't know what they were going to do with it. So I don't have a bottle here to show you. They had a 10-year-old rum cask, which to me was absolutely fantastic. I've only started to enjoy a couple of different rum casks recently, Westwood rum cask, the Caribbean Balvenie rum cask, and so on. I would love to see a 10-year-old single cask released from them, and I would buy half the selection or from that because it is absolutely amazing. All of these were 52%. Now, as I mentioned, the third barrel, which was the second fill Apera cask, was the crowd favorite. I then think the bourbon was the second and the rum cask was the third because it's just a little bit different from what they would normally do. So once all of this is all blended, they still keep it at 52%. We were able to have the Vitalis. So has your typical Starward notes, but the best thing about the breakdown of the event is that I could then taste little pieces. As I said, I'm not great at this kind of stuff. I could have, you know, little flashbacks of tasting the Tawny. I can have flashbacks of taking the bourbon and then flashbacks of tasting the rum. And I could really pick pieces out of it. It still has that tropical enjoyment you have. It still has a heavy wine influence, which we all love, but it's a very well balanced Starward for the kind of the amount of blends that have gone into it. And at 52%, it really doesn't feel like that. So, you know, ripe, fruity, they talk about chewy toffee, raisins, that kind of stuff. I didn't get that, just to be open. I did get a bit of that pineapple, which is very common with it. But one of the best things about it is you could sit back with the Vitalis and just enjoy it for quite a long time. It's not something you've got to keep going back to and trying to rush to drink and try and get more flavor out of it. It actually lingered for quite some time. So as I mentioned, the 10-year-old though, the 10-year anniversary, I actually brought this along and I'd never opened this before. And having them side by side, it really does bring back a lot of those Essendon flavors, which we all enjoy about Starward. So if you are a Ballot winner and you're worried about it or you're thinking about doing it, grab it because it is one of the better Starwards I've had in a very long time. And as a Starward fan, that is saying a lot. So I hope you all enjoy it and we'll catch you on the next video.